God was so kind to me in that season. Like, it was just so sweet how he just continued to like be gracious and be kind and was like, hey, like, I've got you, and you're like, I don't care about the writing. Like, it was like your identity, your worth is not in that. Like, I care about you because I care about you.
Between the Grooves is hosted by James Curtis, music director and morning man in the Greater Toronto Area on Joy Radio, and Ayiesha Woods, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and musician. Together, they talk with artists and industry insiders to discover our connection between music and faith. You can connect with us on Facebook or X at Between Grooves and on Instagram at Between Grooves Pod. Now, here's James and Ayiesha.
Listen, we're like into December already.
Yeah, well,
it's weird.
I think that the year has flown by.
It really
like
has.
A couple of weeks before Christmas. Now, are you ready as far as Christmas is concerned?
It depends on what we're talking about.
Okay. As a pastor, you're never ready. I understand that. For me,
right.
For me, surprisingly, I've finished up most of my Christmas gift shopping.
No, I haven't done any of that.
Okay, I normally leave it to the last minute, but this year I was proactive because the biggest thing in my family, as far as Christmas gifts is concerned, is what the kids want, right? Mm-hmm. So my kids, and they're older now, so it's easier. So it's just like, send me a text. What do you want? Put it on the list, and then the sooner I have that list, I think they've discovered this. The sooner I have that list, the sooner I can get to it and deal with it and buy it and stuff. And so I did all of that weeks ago, and all that was remaining up to about a week ago.
Rock.
No, I just want to check the box. You know, I want to say it's done.
Well, I'll tell you this: my mom, she's very much a planner, and so she called me last week because she knows that we're gonna arrive Christmas morning. So she was like, Ayiesha, I've taken it upon myself to go and get all of your gifts. So just put this amount of money in my account and you're all sorted already.
That's awesome. Wish I had somebody like that. Man. Wow.
I got to find them something now.
Well, I guess we should get to the episode. By the way, welcome to Between the Grooves.
Hey.
Our guest this week, we're going to be hearing from Leanna Crawford. Is this Leanna?
Yes, this is her.
This is James. I can hear you fine. That's awesome.
Oh, good. Okay, sweet. I wasn't sure. I was like, anyways.
Right.
Leanna, a few years back, you and I were chatting, and we had some technical issues, if I remember correctly. And I had said something like, don't worry, we'll see you at Kingdom Bound anyways, and we'll connect then.
Yes.
And we never did because there was no Kingdom Bound that year.
That one.
Yes.
That's crazy. Oh my word.
So now we're finally getting together after all this time, and I don't even remember if we actually had a conversation or there was some technical issues or what the deal was, or maybe it was just a really bad signal. I have no idea. But now we have you. Now we can actually chat. So I'm in Toronto. Ayiesha Woods is in Orlando. And where are you right now?
I am actually in New Orleans.
Is that home for you?
Right.
Yes, it is. I just got married 2 months ago.
I know. That was my next thing was congratulations to you. How's that going?
Thank you. Oh, it's so fun. Oh my goodness, it's so fun. He's just the sweetest. He plays basketball. So this year he is playing for the New Orleans Pelicans. And so I would usually be in Nashville. That's where I've like called home for the last 5-6 years. That's where we got married. But when like the season starts in October, from like October to April, he doesn't have like any days off. Like it's like all bad. They have 82 games. So if I want to see him much at all, if I want to like see my husband, I kind of have to live where he is. So I'm sort of going back and forth between here in Nashville and then going on the road. But I'm trying to I'm trying to be here. We enjoy being together. So that's like,
Yeah, sure.
we
That's
enjoy
important.
spending time together. So I'm like, I'm trying to be. But
I would hope
think-
so. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know, right? Yeah, it's so fun. But everybody's been like so like sweet about it and everything. I think there's definitely a little bit of like Zoom fatigue from a lot of people that had to do that like songwriting, but there are some writers that were like already doing that before, whether they were like West Coast based or whatever. So there are some people that are down to do Zoom. Or else I've just been like writing when I go back to Nashville. So it's been just trying to figure out pockets, but it's fun. It's a fun season of life. But yes, that is where I am. That's where I am calling from right now.
So how often are you?
Awesome.
How often are you traveling back and forth between Nashville or I mean, if your husband's on the road with a game, are you going on the road with him as well?
Not usually. I'm usually so we have like his whole schedule, which is so awesome. So I can kind of plan it out a little bit. But if he's on the road, there actually are a couple times, which is new. Which is sweet that this team does it, but I can be on the road with him. But most of the time, if he's on the road, I'm going back to Nashville and
That's
I'm like
smart.
getting some work done. So I'm like, perfect, you're gone. I'm going to go too.
Right. And I guess it's fairly easy for you to schedule that in advance anyways, knowing his schedule, right?
It does help for sure. It definitely helps. It definitely helps. And everybody's been so gracious and excited, obviously. I'm like, this is a different season of life, probably just for this next year. We'll be in New Orleans, but who knows? Sadly, Nashville doesn't have a basketball team. So that one is, he could start playing hockey or something. But
there won't be an away game in Nashville, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Are you still connected with Matthew West?
You know what? I am. He had a management company that managed me and was sort of still kind of. I was with them for a long time, and they were kind of about to not a disband, but sort of just like trying to figuring out still. And so I ended up a year and a half ago moving to a different management company that I've been with now for a year and a half, but it's Proper Management. And that's like Mike J and Nick Beret and those guys. And it's been great. And so I think Matthew's company Matthew's
company was just starting out too. Like it was all with his home studio and everything else too, wasn't it?
Right. And I was sort of his flagship artist.
Yeah, that's right.
But there had been a bit of he is great. He's obviously such an incredible songwriter and performer. I learned so much, but he does anything like he's got his podcast. He does the show. He does everything. And I think that also was like, he really does. He does it all. Like, and I don't know how he does it all, but he does it all.
Well, I think the podcast thing though was happening I wouldn't say as a result of, but it did happen. If I remember correctly, it started up during the pandemic. It was just one more thing that he could do versus sitting at home doing nothing.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And I think it's been great for him. So no. And I'm so grateful. And he totally understood. I think just, especially it being, just the season that I was in, trying to build it back up after COVID.
Right.
And he was trying to figure out who's going to run the company. And I think now I think it's all good now. But anyway, so I got to travel with him a ton and be on the road, and I learned so much. So that is like, it's crazy. I mean, he's he works the crowd so well, he does his thing. Like, he's so good. And I definitely there's pieces of my show that I'm like that. I definitely I learned so much from him. I felt like I was in school, either being in the writing room with him or on the road. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. I felt like I was in school just watching some of the stuff that he posted. This was way before COVID, when he'd have a concert date or something like that. And he would actually, I remember one venue in particular, and that they had a balcony, I guess, above where people would, go to the concert, like before they actually get into the auditorium. And so they're all lined up waiting to go, and he'd be out on this balcony performing acoustically on his guitar. It's like a preview of what to expect when you get in there type thing. And I thought that was just so awesome that he would take the time to do something like that.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't know he did that. That's awesome.
Yeah, just
I love that.
Things that you can learn and just unique things that artists can do. So what's happened with you as far as, I know you're, obviously writing music, you're performing music, we're playing your songs on the radio. And with you living in New Orleans, what happens now as far as touring and that sort of thing?
Yeah, thankfully there is a direct flight to Nashville from here. It's super easy to hop on and I can go. So pretty much since we got married, it was the end of August. We went on a honeymoon for a week and then we came here and he started doing basketball. And then pretty much every weekend I was on the road doing shows since we've been here. I've had a couple weekends off, but I am so grateful I literally just dove right back in. And I love my road team is so sweet. So really was right back on the road. And I either can leave from here or I go to Nashville and then I leave with the team. So that's been really easy. And then as far as new music and writing, I feel like even though I'm here, I feel like I've been writing even more than I was pre-wedding. So it's been really, really sweet. I don't know. I think for a while, COVID, I know it's been a little while since we've talked, but I was really dry kind of in COVID, which was very, I had been, like I shared, I got to be on the road so much prior to that and a lot with Matthew. Yeah. I was just I was getting to do all this incredible stuff, but I wasn't, it was all of a sudden COVID happened and all my shows got canceled. Of course, everything got canceled for us. Right. But it was everything I was looking forward to was, it didn't happen. There's a lot of good things that happened during COVID for me, but there was also just this season of all of a sudden I couldn't distract myself with being on the road. Not that being on the road is a distraction, but I wasn't working on this other stuff because I was just so busy going off all the time. And so all of a sudden COVID hit and I was forced to look at myself in the mirror and really sit with some insecurities that I was dealing with.
It's like being on hold with the phone company, right?
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I was, and everybody else, I was looking, and of course, this is where, the comparison thing, you just can't do that. But it felt like all of my peers and everybody else is all of a sudden, they are, they have all this creativity just spilling out from them because all of a sudden they have all the time. So it felt like all my peers around me are creating and doing all the things. And I felt so dry because I had been wrestling with a lot of just to go and just, I had been feeling like I just was not really myself. And I was honestly why I had in high school and even in high school and in college and even after writing for me had always been a form of worship and had always been very creative and very sweet for me. And I felt like I kind of lost touch with that. And I think I just sort of, I was not really checking in with what I was supposed to be giving to the Lord. And so I really had to sit with it. I ended up going to Nashville has this really sweet thing called Porter's Call, but it's counseling for artists.
Yeah, I know exactly what that is. Yeah, we had them on the podcast a few years back, and what they do is phenomenal.
Oh my gosh,
great work.
I mean, just absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful. And so I started going to counseling that summer of 2020, and just she helped me through so much. I cannot. I mean, there was a lot of voices in my head that I just had not dealt with, and then there were voices around that I had chosen to believe were true, and things that I was kind of just letting everybody else or different voices kind of run what I was doing instead of okay, is this really what I should be doing? So it kind of created this whole thing. So all this to say, I started going to counseling and through, I'm so thankful for just, my community during that time was just so incredible. My sister, like just people around me that still continue to believe in me, because I thought I was like done. I wanted to give up. I couldn't write a song. I had put all of my worth like in my career in songwriting, and I felt like I couldn't be creative. I couldn't write. And so I felt like I just was a complete failure. Every time I would sit at the piano, I would just cry and cry. And I would literally just like scream. I was a mess for months and months. And then finally, and it was not an instant moment, but I felt like just slowly but surely as I kept digging in, I kept going to counseling, I kept like just praying, and God was so kind to me in that season. Like it was just so sweet how he just continued to like be gracious and be kind, and was like, hey, like, I've got you, and you're like, I don't care about the writing. Like it was like your identity, your worth is not in that. Like I care about you because I care about you. And I think that shift in my mind was like something I really needed to grow out of, and like just learn that like God loves me because of me, not because of what I can give him, because he doesn't need me. Right. And that was like, that slowly started to shift. And of course, when I started to like understand that like the love of God, which of course I feel like we're just always understanding, right? But that's just in my identity in him. I felt like I was able to like start writing again, and there was like a freedom. And so now, and I think you asked like how the songwriting's going, but it's like now I feel like I'm in this just like creative season, which is always sweet. And I know that it just kind of comes in waves, but it's been sweet. And that was like way more than you asked, but there we go.
No,
that's all right.
That's perfectly fine. I do got to give a shout out to Porter's Call, the work they do to support artists, professional artists and musicians. They really understand the uniqueness of your career and what you go through. Right. And so I think that's why I think it's so phenomenal what they're doing. They've been around for a long time doing that for, and it's not just Christian artists, it's any label. Is this I understand at one time, or with some labels, this is a perk. It's almost like part of your benefits plan in a sense, where if you need help, they're there. It's not like you have to worry about, forking over a pile of cash to them.
No, it's free for artists and like signed artists and independent artists, which is like incredible to me. So you don't have to be signed to go there. So like anyone can go there, and it's not just for Christian artists. They open it up to everybody, which I think is really sweet too. But like obviously they're very faith-based, and it's absolutely beautiful. But it's not just for signed artists. So it's like any artist can go, and they understand what we're going through. So it really is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's an incredible ministry.
One of the things I really admire about what you've done, Leanna, is the fact that how do I frame this? I like what you've done as far as putting out some Christmas music, because it makes you relatable all year long. You come out with songs that are hits and gets played on the radio, but then at Christmas time, even though, a couple of years ago, I guess was when the last couple of songs came out, they're still being played every Christmas.
Thank you. I love Christmas. I love Christmas time. I'm like, I want to do more Christmas music, but I think that's the beauty of it. It's like, it's evergreen.
Yeah,
it just comes around every year.
But I think it's just a really smart career choice. If you're an artist or a musician, why not do something like that? Because it's longevity, if you know what I mean. Like you've always got something being played on the radio, which is what you want if that's your livelihood, right?
Oh, absolutely. Are you guys November 1st Christmas people, or are you guys December
absolutely.
like after?
No, well, Ayiesha is.
I am a November 1st girl.
Yeah,
your tree is up and everything.
What? And it's so pretty. Oh,
so
I asked my husband just the other day. I was like, "Baby, when are you gonna put the lights up?" He was like, looking at me sideways. It's time. Like our lights should have been up outside November 2nd. If the tree was up November 1st, we should have had lights outside November 2nd.
Yeah.
My wife and daughter are definitely the Christmas fans. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a Christmas fan, but come the beginning of November, it's the Hallmark movies, the Christmas Hallmark movies.
Yes.
And, you know, there's the Christmas music happening, which for me, I've already been playing Christmas music since the end of September because I'm the music director at the radio station. But at the radio station, we actually kick off Christmas music December 1st. We just try to be consistent with it, and so you know, there's other stations that perhaps is already playing it, and you can stream whatever you want whenever you want. But for us, it's December 1st. But by December 1st, I've already heard it all.
Yeah,
so you're ready.
Sure.
You're ready to move on to the new year. You're like, okay.
Yeah, because I got to schedule music in advance. So by the first week in December, I'm almost done. In fact, it's actually quite amusing to see artists, and it's not really label artists, but it's independent artists or people that just don't know any better. And second, third week in December, hey, I got a great new Christmas song. Can you play it? It's like you're a little late,
Yeah, no, for real. You got to put that out a little earlier.
Yeah. But no, I like what you've done, and you've got some great songs as far as Christmas is concerned. Now, what's happening in the new year? Have you got a new single that's going to be coming out?
Yes, I do. I'm very excited. I think this is so bad. I don't even know all the dates for all the things, but I do have a new single coming out. I have it just came out to streaming, but it's called I Know a Place. And very excited about that one. I think it's going to be so sweet. And then I just was in the studio yesterday recording in Nashville. And there's another song coming out in February, which nobody knows that, but you guys know now.
Okay, we won't tell anyone. Don't worry, we won't tell anyone.
Hey, no, that's great. I mean, I'm gonna, I think that's great. I wrote a song for my husband's name is Cody. I wrote him a song and surprised him with it at our wedding.
Nice.
And so I'm gonna release that, which I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah.
Did he cry when you sang it?
He did, and he's not a big crier, but he did cry. He was so super. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it, and it was like my vows to him in a song, like just a very sweet little love song, and he cried. I was very proud.
And you managed to get through it without tearing up?
I did until the very end.
Come on, Leanna's she's a pro, right? She does this, in front of thousands. There's no way.
But your wedding day and singing a love song to your husband or your wife, it's like kudos to you if you were able to do it and hold it together.
I was pretty emotional. I was not sure how I feel. I did until like the very end in the bridge. I put a lyric in there about like, I vow to be your comfort on the darkest days. If life doesn't always go our way, and even if the memories fade. And that line, my dad had just spoke to us, and his parents, my grandparents, they weren't able to be at the wedding. And they are not doing so well. And especially the last few years, they're just like, they've been kind of, that it just happens sometimes, and they've just been losing their memories, but like their love for each other. And my grandpa, he's just been like such a rock, like taking care of my grandma, but it's been so sweet. So my dad had just he was talking about that right before I sang. And then I got to that point and I was like, oh dear. Because of course, then you're picturing, just the, Cody and I in 50, 60, 50 years or whatever. And you're like, okay, that's what commitment means. It's not just for that. It's the times when you're, in your, however old you are. And it's for those times too. So.
Yeah.
Ayiesha, have you ever serenaded your husband?
I get nervous. Like if I've written songs for him, I've written songs about him, and when I'll go to play them for him, like I get super, super nervous.
Really?
So yes, I do. He sang to me at our wedding.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he did. And
so he surprised you, or you knew it was coming?
Cool. Let me see. Did I know? No, I didn't know. Actually, I did not know.
Aw.
Yeah. So it was nice. He did a good job. I was proud of him.
Did you cry?
I didn't. I was just like, go ahead.
She was
go ahead, do
emotionless.
it.
She was emotionless.
I was like, from
Did
the
you at
club.
least smile?
Sherman,
Did you at
Sherman,
least
Sherman.
smile or look lovey-dovey at him or something?
I didn't know. I was like, I literally said, sing, baby.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Right.
Yeah. Because he doesn't do stuff like that often. So it was really special. I didn't cry.
And he can sing. He's got the pipes?
Yeah, he's got a good voice.
Okay. What about your husband, Leanna?
Oh no! We don't want to hear him sing.
That's not his gifting from God.
No, and we laugh about it, but he loves to sing. He loves music. And it is the funniest thing. He has a very low register, like talking. He has a super low voice. And there was like this one time in the car, we were like singing along to the radio. And it was, it's Josh Turner, the country artist, came on. And he obviously sings way, octaves down. And Cody started singing. And I felt so bad. I was like,
so
Cody,
bad.
you actually sound... No, because this time I was like, you actually sound good if you just stay down there.
Right.
And I was like, I've made fun of you for so long and you actually can kind of sing. And he was like, I've been telling
That's
you.
funny.
No, but he's so supportive. He doesn't care. He's just so sweet. But
So he's not tone deaf or anything like that then?
Oh no, he is for sure.
He is tone deaf? Okay.
Just that one time.
Just the one time.
Just that one time he sounded good. I was like, I don't know. No, he thinks
The song happened to be in his key.
Yeah, it was there, and I would share this with him, but no, it's so funny. My dad is also but he's just a very like loud, passionate, person as well. And if I'm playing a show, he's in the back, he can't sit down. He just can't sit. He's so excited. So he like sings along to every word, and he's like moving, like he's like, I mean, just all about it. But he also, my mom teases him because he is also a little bit tone deaf.
Oh, wow.
But it's fun. It's all in love. It's all in love.
It's all love. I'm not going to mention about my wife's being tone deaf or anything like that, but I will mention. I had a pastor that was that couldn't sing, and he was the lead pastor in my church, and I was the audio guy. But he wanted to encourage people to sing during the praise and worship, so he'd be in the front row, and so you know what he would just mouth the words. He would lip sync, and I knew he was doing that because his mic was on, and I'm listening in the monitor thinking I'm not hearing anything coming out of his voice. Every once in a while he would, and then I'd understand why he wouldn't want his mic to be on, but he would just lip sync only because he wanted to show that he was excited and passionate about the praise and worship, and he wanted to encourage other people to do it as well. And I thought, that's phenomenal, right? That's amazing.
That's actually awesome. Honestly, I kind of love that.
So when you're driving in the car and your husband tries to sing along, you just
encourage him.
Well, no, you just Cody, why don't you let the artist do the singing?
No, I let him. We sing. We both sing. Okay. I love it when he sings. It's just fun. He's not that bad.
Okay. So you're covering for him, I understand. My favorite Leanna Crawford song still is Truth I'm Standing On.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's such a powerful song, honestly. Like, that's a song that you can just crank right up. And there's not a lot of songs that, like there's a very few number of artists that, I mean, I like all sorts of music and stuff. But if there was a song I could listen to over and over again, Truth I'm Standing On is definitely in there.
Nice.
Thank you.
Where did it come from?
Thank you. Oh man. I wrote that one with Matthew and AJ Pruce, and again, that was just like such a sweet song. Wrote that one coming out of a season for me. It was kind of leading up to the season I shared with y'all earlier, but just man, I really needed that song the day that we wrote it. And I think even since then it has become, because I sing that in every set. I mean, it's so sweet to hear that has been people's anthems. And of course we know that, like, you know, God knows what he's doing, but they always are like, it comes on the radio, like just at the right time. And I just, I was just on the road this weekend, and someone came up to me, someone that was working the event actually, and he just shared that his son had passed away. His oldest son had passed away a few years prior, and he said, I was driving to the venue, and 3 miles out, your song came on, and he said he'd never heard it before. And he didn't even, I don't even think he made the connection until got to the show and I played that song. And he was just so thankful to be like reminded of that. And I think that's like, it's really special that like, and I hope that's always like, but I hope that's always what, you know, the songs will do. But I think that is just so true as like a writer being in the room that day, even what we wrote that song about. It was a story that Matthew had heard, which was just so inspiring. But it was a gal in Florida who had lost her husband to cancer. But she had like, it was literally a hashtag on Instagram. And during the season, and I think after, she would post Bible verses and scripture encouraging others in her season. And it was truth to stand on was the hashtag. And I was like, that song literally came from a hashtag, and it's become this incredible just reminder and truth for people, an anthem for a lot of people. And I think for me, it's so special to get to share that, but also in different seasons for me, that song has meant so much. And I literally sing that song like the other night. I got so emotional and I'm singing it, and I'm just like, I need to hear the words. And that's not because I'm like, you know, it's because God does that and he uses music in that way. And so it's so incredible to just see it become still, like you said, which is so kind, but just still like, it's still an anthem for people, and which is just so sweet. So that I'm so grateful for.
Yeah, the Truth I'm Standing On is very much a song that you can use as, like you said, an anthem, kind of like a pillar in a sense. How can you not? I don't want to talk about every one of your songs, but how can you not is something completely different, and it really makes you think. Like, that's a thinker song, you know? That one is so special to me. I wrote it because my dad had never seen fireflies, and do you have fireflies?
We do down here.
Summertime in northern Ontario, sure.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't. So, like, growing up in the Northwest, we did not have fireflies, and so when we moved to Nashville every year, I just think it's like the sweetest thing ever. And my dad had never seen them a couple summers ago, and my parents were visiting my sister and I in Nashville, and so we were like, okay, perfect. Dad's gonna see fireflies, and he's like this. You know, he's like this big old, like he was a, you know, college linebacker, and he's like this big, you know, but he's the absolute sweetest. And so
gentle giant, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But I knew that he would be pumped about fireflies. I was like, Dad's gonna be so excited. And so we go for these walks every night looking for fireflies, and not a single one the whole week. We're like driving in the car, we're like trying to find them, not a single firefly. And then the night before they're about to leave, we go on like one more walk looking for the fireflies. And the field we're walking by, I'd walked by it like 100 times before, maybe not that many times, but a lot of times before. And I'd never seen like it do this before, but the fireflies came out, and it just, this field lit up like it looked like stars were in the sky. And my dad, like, we being in the Northwest, or just like, we love being outside, or, you know, and I feel like I'd heard him say this before, but in that moment it just like hit me. But he just was like, how can you not see a creator? And it was such a sweet like reminder. So literally the next day I went and I took that, and I was like, that's a really great song title. So
Thanks,
I
Dad.
took that and just, I literally was like, thank you. Thanks, Dad. And I took that to a couple friends in Nashville, and we wrote that, and just seeing like in the little things, I mean, in the big and the small things, but the God that created the galaxies is the same God that created the fireflies, and like cares about like this, he cares about the details of our lives. And I think in that season as well. That was kind of coming out of the season where I was dry and wasn't writing a lot. So that was one of the first songs that was like really sweet for me. And I was so excited just because I was like, I was so excited about that. But yeah, just writing. And so it's been a really good reminder for me, but just in my own life. And I feel like that season I shared with y'all, this season that God walked me through, I have to say, like, how can I not see God? Like, he just was so kind to me. How can I not see God in my own life? So that's definitely a super special one to me.
I think part of it is you have certain expectations. You kind of think this is the way life is supposed to go, and then it doesn't.
Right.
And God knows better. God knows what's going to happen, but you don't. And if you could, fast forward 5 years from now and see where you are, then you kind of know why you're in this moment right now.
Right, exactly. And it's not always, and sometimes, and I think that's like the hard thing too, is sometimes you don't necessarily see it. Like, you don't necessarily see, even maybe on this side of heaven, because God's ways are higher than ours, right? But I also believe there's like, there are so many moments where we can look back and say, like, how can I not see God? Because I also think he is so kind, and he is good, even when it's like, even when it, doesn't feel like that. But I always think there's like, it's also like a little bit of a thankfulness song. And just like, even if it is a hard season, there's always something to be thankful for, and like thinking that too. And so it's like a reminder for me in that of just like, hey, even if it is a hard season, like there are so many things I can be thankful for, even if it's just his goodness, even if I don't feel it. Like, I know that he is, because he's been good before. And I think it's always like, that's like, I have to remind myself, I know that he's good because he can't help but be good, and he is good before. So I know he's going to be good again, even if that doesn't look like what I thought it would.
Right. He has the perfect track record. Just think back, look back.
Right, exactly. It's like the Israelites constantly... in the Old Testament, it absolutely, it's like the Israelites in the Old Testament needing to be like, just over and over again, and I'm just like, like they just need to be reminded over and over again, and then all of a sudden they would just, God would do something for them, and then they would forget, and God would do something, and they would forget, and I'm just like, I feel like I see myself a lot of that, like I'm like, I have to be reminded so often. Because I forget, and that's like, our nature to forget, but he is always good, and he can't not be good.
Absolutely. So good.
So good.
On a completely different note, Christmas, just right around the corner. What are your plans as a newlywed? Are you going to your parents' place? Are you hanging out with Cody's side of the family? What's happening?
A little bit of kind of all over. This will be the first Christmas Day that I will not spend with my family in Washington State. So that's like, we always are like together in the Northwest. And that, oh my goodness, last time I was home, my dad thought he was being hilarious. I have 3 little nieces, and the oldest one is 6 years old, and she is very used to her aunties. Like, it's me and my sister, like she's very used to them being around on Christmas. And so my dad thought it would be really funny to share with her in that moment that I would not be spending Christmas Day with her. No. And she started crying. She was not happy. And my dad is like laughing. And of course we all tease each other, but I was like, Dad, that is not fair. Making me like the bad. I was like, because I told her, I was like, we're going to celebrate Christmas right before, and we're going to have so much fun. And she was like, it's not the same. I was like, Ava, it's going to be fun. But we'll have fun. And then Cody, he actually does have Christmas Day off. I don't know if he has it off.
Nice.
But hopefully he has it off. So we'll get to celebrate, and I think his parents will come to us. So we'll celebrate. But I'm excited to get to spend it with him, and so I'll still get to see my family, and I'll get to see his family as well. Some of his family. So it'll still be sweet, and we'll figure out my family and his family both. I mean, we're all like, it's special. The day is special, but it's also just like making time to be together, So I'm like, it doesn't have to be on the day. And I think that's like the biggest, it's like, there's nothing magical about the day, it's not, I mean, there is, but it's like, it's still sweet the day, but I have to, remind myself, I'm like, it's just sweet to be together. Like, that's what I care about,
Yeah, my mom was over a few weeks back, and we always have my mom over and my mother-in-law over Christmas Day, say around lunchtime or in the afternoon, basically. And the first question my mom asked was, "Will you be having turkey?" Because my mom just loves turkey. And I said to my mom, quite honestly, we're just going to have a huge breakfast, and you're welcome to come for the breakfast. It's going to be big enough that we can just munch on it throughout the rest of the day. I don't want my wife to have to spend hours and hours in the kitchen making a big turkey feast and stuff. And I said to her, quite frankly, I'd rather have pizza. I'd rather order in pizza.
Right.
Not that we're doing that.
Really?
But then, I was trying to just explain to my mom that that's the reason why. I mean, Christmas, you want to spend time with family. You want to be together.
Yes.
You don't want to be exhausted from being in the kitchen all day long. And so that's what I explained to my mom. And once I explained it to her that way, she said, yeah, I'd be good with pizza too.
That's the thing. What do you guys do? What's your Christmas breakfast?
Everything. Oh yeah. French toast, pancakes, Canadian bacon, fresh bread, scones, muffins, big plate of fruit, you name it.
Eggs?
Sorry?
Do you do eggs also?
Oh yeah. No, eggs as well. What I do is the kids like me to make Daddy's famous eggs, which is really just something I made up when they were young, and they still like Daddy's famous eggs, and it's just scrambled eggs, but it's not overcooked, so it's dry, right? So it's still juicy and everything else, and that's quote unquote Daddy's famous eggs, and it's again nothing special about it except I've got to make it, right? And so and I also do a big batch of French toast, but it takes a long time to do, so I actually make them the day before, and then we just warm it up in the oven the morning of.
Oh, I love that. We have my dad's famous hash browns. That's how we have.
Okay, yeah.
And
really?
My dad, yes, he makes famous hash browns, and it's fun now because my brother-in-law is a potato farmer, so we use my brother-in-law's potatoes, and he makes his famous hash browns like eggs and sausage. But it's like Dad, it's like you're saying, like Dad has to make it, like it's very special. My mom creates like a little menu. And it's just like so sweet, but I love that. It's the best.
My dad used to make hash browns, and I'm not kidding about this. He made hash browns, didn't do it very good, and we nicknamed them hash blacks. Because he burnt the whole batch, so no more. Yeah, so there you go.
Oh my goodness. That is so sad. I love potatoes.
It is sad, but it's a good memory, right? Hash blacks. I mean, you'll always remember about hash blacks if you had my dad's.
I won't listen. You just had to tell the story. I won't forget that ever.
Right, exactly.
So, hash blacks.
That's right. You go to a restaurant and you order your eggs with some hash browns, but now what's going to go through your mind is hash blacks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Burn my potatoes, please.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much. It was a thrill finally getting to chat with you.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. It was just a sweet conversation. I kind of forgot we were doing like a little podcast interview. You guys are so easy to talk to. Thank you guys so much. I just hope you have an incredible Christmas and enjoy being with family.
Yes, you too.
Thank you guys.
Create some memories with you and your hubby, and you guys start some new traditions between you.
I'm excited. Oh, thank you. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good times with Leanna today. Why don't you check out her website when you get a chance, leannacrawford.com.
And before we go, let's get some artist advice from Michael Bethany.
I think the best advice I can give is find authenticity through spiritual, godly intimacy. I mean, even creativity, if we're just chasing creativity outside of the context of knowing Jesus, I feel like sometimes we try to reverse engineer an idea into making it something that originated in a place that it didn't. And so whatever you're creating, just being a creative, I believe, wholeheartedly seek Jesus first, seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, seek that first and let God add to that the things that are essential to your creativity, as opposed to starting with creativity and then saying, okay, how can I make this fit into my relationship with God? I think that's how you get a lot of things that we're singing that aren't either biblical or are stretched at best, and maybe sometimes not even based on a relationship with God at all. And sometimes we're singing songs that we don't realize they're not really helpful to our Christian journey. Everything that we are doing for God should come from God, because all things are from him, for him, and to him. So that's what my greatest, encouragement would be to writers and artists.
Any thoughts on that, Ayiesha?
Yeah, it's interesting when he talked about how we reverse engineer things.
I love that term. I love that term. Yeah. That's Apple products for you, folks.
Yeah, there you go. Right. But we do a lot of times put the cart before the horse, and just him encouraging us to keep things in the proper perspective, then we'll see results that are fruitful.
I think his advice is obviously specifically for aspiring Christian artists versus anybody else out there, right? The only thing I would question, or not necessarily disagree with, but certainly have a different perspective on, is when he talks about things that aren't necessarily biblical if you don't have the relationship with God. And sometimes I think that a Christian artist, and maybe it's more so a non-worship artist, will have songs about God or about their journey, to God or with God. In the past, as the music director of a Christian radio station, I've received complaints from people that don't necessarily like the song because it's not talking about God or Jesus specifically. There might be the words Jesus or God in the song, but because the song is more about their journey or what they're going through, they feel it's not a Christian song.
It's not spiritual enough.
Yeah. Exactly. And I don't think that's a bad thing either, because my hope at a Christian radio station is to attract non-Christians to listen to the radio station. Have we got something for you? And so I don't want to be super spiritual either, unless it's a worship segment. And I'm not saying we don't play worship songs. We do. But there has to be something for everybody so that they can, in their own personal journey, their own walk, be able to relate to it.
Yep, that's it. And maintaining a healthy balance, I think, is key. For all of it.
And that's not to say that you shouldn't find the authenticity through that intimacy with God, because that still does come first. I'm just saying that as far as the end result, it may not be the worship song. It could be a pop Christian track, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It might be that very thing that speaks to you. So
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you to Michael Bethany for his wisdom, and thanks to Leanna Crawford for joining us today. Next week, our final episode of the year. That's right. That was meant to be a drum roll. Thank you. It's our annual Between the Grooves Christmas. I got to say, I think it's going to be one of our best ones yet. We do this every year, and I think this is going to be the best yet. And I'm not just saying that to get people to listen. Hey, if you don't check it out, you won't know. But I honestly think it will be the best episode that we've had as far as Christmas is concerned. Many of our guests from the last year joining us to share stories and memories and traditions, and hoping that you'll be a part of it as well.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm excited about it.
Thanks for listening to Faith Strong Today's Between the Grooves podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider sharing it with your friends? Rating our podcast or giving us some love on your socials to your amazing friends and followers will only help us reach more people. We'd also love to hear from you and share your feedback in an upcoming episode. Send your video or written message to Ayiesha and James on Facebook or X at Between Grooves and on Instagram at Between Grooves Pod. Or email us anytime, hello@faithstrongtoday.com.